Hey, What the Suck family. As you may have noticed, we recently switched to Anchor for our podcast hosting needs.
That's right, we were using another site that had us paying $20 a month for services such as unlimited uploading, unlimited hosting, and distribution. Anchor will distribute your podcast to Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, and many more, and they do it all for free.
They make it super easy to create and start your podcast directly from their site. You can record and edit directly on the Anchor website or app directly from your phone.
It's your one-stop shop for everything you need to create your own show. They will even help you find sponsors to fund your project.
Just go to anchor.fm and get started today. There really is no easier way to do it.
What? No.
You suck! Oh my
Hello, campers, and welcome to another episode of What the Suck podcast. I'm James,
And I'm Chris.
and today's special feature is Dark Web, a 2017 movie, thriller horror style. And in this anthology film, a mysterious website grants wishes of mayhem. That stays in. Gotta keep the screw ups. Now, that way they know we're human and not robots. Anyway, website grants wishes of mayhem and murder for all who dare ask. Yeah, sure. But each request comes with a price. Now, I will say, folks, the synopsis is one thing, the actual movie is another. Just be warned.
Yeah, but we kind of encounter that with all these movies. They always give you one
that's a little bit
synopsis and
different.
then it's totally different. Or it has very little to do with the actual movie.
This is correct, and we will get into that in further detail later. But just know the synopsis, it doesn't quite follow the movie, but watch it anyway. Chris, why don't you run down the cast and crew of this
Sure.
lovely piece of art?
So it premiered October 17, 2017, directed by a bunch of people, like 8 people, and then written by 8 other people.
Yeah, read about it on the website.
Yeah,
folks.
starring Ron Bash, Carrie Bauman, Dave Belden,
Dave's
Mark
not
Booker.
here.
Dave's not here, man. Amber Calderon, Lawrence R. Harvey, and 85 other fucking people. There is no Rotten Tomatoes score, no audience score.
I love it when
Yes.
Rotten Tomatoes takes a pass. I
Yes,
love it when they say,
yeah.
nah, forget it.
Now, I will say this, going back to what we were saying, I am seeing a theme with the movies that we're watching. They're either one of two things. They either have like 5 or 6 titles,
This is
alternate
true.
titles, or the synopsis that we're given has very little to do with the actual movie.
This is that's almost universally correct.
Yeah.
With almost everything we're doing, there's discrepancies, which is cool. I mean, we'll deal with those as we come to them, but yeah, definitely it does not follow what it says. I mean,
there.
starting all the way back with Scary or Die, it was the same thing. It says 5 people run from a killer clown when it was only one part of the movie, but
Yeah, and it's like maybe 2 people who run from a killer clown. If that.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 73 minutes long, which is good. It's not very long at all. It's short enough to watch it and still get on with your life.
Short and painless.
Short and painless. Yeah. So, all right. So this is. Oh, let's go over the rating system real quick.
Yep.
All right. So, our rating system is reversed. Instead of best of 1 out of 5 stars or 1 out of 5 whatever, or best 1 sucks, 5 is good, or whatever. Ours is reverse. So ours is best or least amount of shit emojis out of 5.
Let's put it this way, folks. The more turds, the worse it is.
Yes.
That's
So-
the easiest way to put it.
We will start 1 out of 5. If we rate it a 1 out of 5 shit emojis, that means you keep it in your queue, share it with your friends frequently. It's so good that or so bad that it's good. Like, it's something that you just have to watch over and over. And you will enjoy, and you will find something new and wonderful with it every time you watch it. 2 out of 5, if you rate it 2 out of 5, watch it with friends, but play a drinking game with it because you're going to need some help to get through it.
Little painkiller.
If we rated it 3 out of 5 shit emojis, Share it with your friends and drink heavily with it. Maybe not a drinking game, but just get drunk as fuck.
Yep.
If we rated a 4 out of 5 shit emojis, that means you only bring it on special occasions. You share it with friends you don't like, share it with your ex, share it with your ex's new boyfriend, share it with people that you really want to have never come around you again.
That's right. Give them a mental breakdown.
And then if it's the almighty 5 out of 5 shit emojis, that means you watch it once with friends. It's so bad that it's just bad, period. There's hardly any redeeming qualities to it. And then after that, you take some sort of drug of your choice to erase it from your memory.
Yes. 'Tis a mountain of shite.
Yes. But if you'll notice, there's a theme in all of our rating systems, and that theme is you still got to watch it.
You got to watch it. That's the whole point, folks. We're not trying to run anybody off. We've said this before, and we'll say it probably in every episode.
That's
we
right.
want you to enjoy these things one way or the other.
That's
Either
right.
drunk, sober, or whatever. But have fun with them. Tear them apart. Laugh it up. Enjoy it. Because, it really can be worth it. We've had a lot of good times trashing some really shitty movies, and it's a lot of fun.
We have watched a ton of movies before we started doing this, a ton of bad movies before we started doing this actual podcast, and we saw some bad ones, but we still found a way to enjoy them, no matter how bad they were.
Yes.
And, you never know exactly what you're going to find until you actually watch a movie. And there are some that are so boring that they're hard to get through, but at the end of the day, at least, the next time you go on to your streaming service and you're looking for something new, you can pass that one or get up to that one and say, I already watched that one. I know it's bad, so I'll just go past it.
That's it.
You won't have to wonder, is it bad or is it not? You've already watched it. So watch it once at the very least, and then if it's better than that, if it's a 1 or 2 or 3, watch it multiple times.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll also like to make a small, quick announcement. This will be published in more detail on social media, that we are actually going to start conducting and recording riff tracks. Here, let me get that straight. I hope we catch that on there. We're going to start doing some riff tracks on some of the features we've seen, maybe on some we haven't seen yet. We haven't decided, but we're going to start doing those as well to expand our product here and our project and do a few other things and keep improving on what we're doing. We just, like I said, we'd like you to leave comments, watch these movies with us. If you have not seen the movies we were reviewing and you do not wish to have them spoiled for you, please pause the podcast, go watch the movie, and then come back and take a listen at the review and see what you think.
Spoiler warning all around.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're looking to expand our repertoire. With, like I said, riff tracks, or maybe further down the line do like a live stream viewing of something.
We might do a Facebook
guests.
Live on like our landmark. Like we're at 10 now. We might do like something on for our 25th episode or something like that. Save it for special occasions and have y'all join us in the process.
So just keep an eye on the social media accounts, and you'll be informed when we do something rather fun. So,
all right.
Without further ado,
what do you say we get to it, brother?
All right, let's get into this suckfest.
It's almost time.
We gamble with people's lives every day.
She's just someone you don't know.
Okay, so movie starts off with a makeup tutorial, like everyone's seen all over the place, all over social media.
Yes, it does. And I'm like, first of all, when I saw it, I was like, oh, shit. It's a damn infomercial. I guess they threw another commercial in here. I swear it caught me off guard slightly. But then I started to notice something weird happening.
Yeah.
So I was watching it, and I was like, okay. But she's seriously annoying. Anybody who's watched a little self-help, self-do,
typical makeup artist, very cheery, very peppy.
Oh my God, you're going
Yeah.
to start with this brush, and you're going to do this.
Yeah.
And when she's working on it, all of a sudden the computer, flashes over to this dark room on her computer screen. She's like, what the hell? So she clicks back over, and then all of a sudden she starts talking again. You take your brush, and you're going to get this, and you're going to do that. And it switches over again.
You do that very well, by the way. I see you've been practicing. Everybody be on the lookout for James's makeup tutorials coming soon to a social media account near you.
Yeah, I saw White Chicks. I know how to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm good.
So then it happens again.
It happens one more time, and then she sits there and freezes.
She's staring directly into the darkness. It's like a dark lit room so it's like a split screen. You see her, and then you see the other side is what's on her computer screen. So you see what's going on at the same time. So she's looking at this dark lit room, and then
absolutely, and all of a sudden, in just glorious fashion.
Yeah, it's actually pretty great.
What would anybody like to do with somebody like that? You take their face and slam it against their keyboard.
She starts slamming her head against the keyboard, and
several times.
Blood starts to come, and then when she's done, she's got this big gaping hole in her head, and blood's squirting out. I mean,
end of segment, but a nice introduction, nevertheless.
Yeah, and normally these kind of movies leave like the short, little 2-minute segments for the end of the movie, so it's interesting to see it at the beginning of the movie this time.
Yes, it actually started with a little mini feature just to kind of get you warmed up. Then we transition to who.
They start with the wraparound story. So most anthologies have a wraparound story that takes place around the little shorts. It's a way to connect the other stories to the main story. And so we get the wraparound story, which involves a really weird, bug-eyed, squirmy dude conversing into a webcam to someone on the other side by the name of Pink Bunny, who converses with text.
That's it. Text only. No cams, just text.
And so he's apparently waiting for somebody to come over, and while he's waiting, Pink Bunny decides to have him view something crazy.
You want to see something crazy?
Ends up being a clip from the quote-unquote dark web. Now, before we get into the first segment, I do want to say that while I understand I understand the reasoning behind it, it was poorly executed. I say that because she's supposed to be, or he, or whoever Pink Bunny is. I'm calling it female because I'm gender retarded or whatever. But Pink Bunny is supposed to be showing squirmy bug-eyed dude a clip from the dark web. The problem with that is if it's a clip, it's not done correctly. Like it looks like a short film.
Yes, it does.
It should be surveillance camera footage or security camera footage, but it's not. So it's multiple cuts. There's a lot of hard cuts, a lot of hard edits, different angles. So it doesn't make any sense from a technical aspect, because who the hell was directing or shooting that segment that Pink Bunny just showed the squirmy dude?
That might be why there was like 12 of them, bud.
Yeah.
There's about 12 directors. But anyway, what they do is we have this this bald, weird-looking dude walking around, kind of mopey, and you see him bend down, and he opens this plastic around this girl who's dead on the floor. So you're thinking, okay, he killed her, blah, 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 whatever. Gets blood on his hand, freaks out, runs off, washes his hands, and it's like a serial killer with hemophilia. It's like the sight of blood makes him nauseous.
Hemophobia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think hemophilia is like a blood disease or something.
Is it?
Yeah. Hemophobia, I think, is
I'm going to tell you what. This movie might give you a blood disease.
It might actually. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so
we basically are going to dub this first segment of the film, since we could not find anything on
Right.
WikiPast.
There's no titles to these segments, so we're going to call this first one Heavy Flow.
Heavy Flow, yes.
So he's in an apartment. He's got this girl wrapped in plastic that he just killed. He goes, like you said, to take the necklace off. He gets blood on his hands. He freaks out, goes to wash his hands vigorously because he's afraid of blood. And then the next segment, you see him in his house.
Yep.
Putting the necklace that he took from the girl away
into a box
with multiple other pieces, which are his trophies, because he's a serial killer and he takes jewelry.
And I'll be honest, folks, it took me a while to catch on to what was going on there. It actually took this second viewing in our review for me to actually catch the fact that he's collecting, obviously, pieces of jewelry, trinkets, from something.
Yeah.
You don't know exactly why, but you're saying, oh, okay, so he's a trophy collector. Like I said...
well, most serial killers actually do collect trophies.
Okay.
They collect something, snippets of hair, fingernails, pieces of clothing. Most serial killers are known to have had some sort of thing that they keep from their victims in order to relive the kill through either the touch, the smell, or the sensation of the... And some actually, I'm like Jeffrey Dahmer, just kept the bodies, or even John Wayne Gacy kept the bodies in his house.
Yeah.
So he went like ultimate trophy hunting.
So basically, that's what had happened.
Yeah.
He's collecting the necklace, and that's why it was important when we saw this first necklace. Then I caught it in a later scene, and that helped me snap to the fact that, okay, he's collecting jewelry from people he's apparently killed.
Yeah.
Proceed, sir.
So then he's at home, and he puts the jewelry away. He goes to walk in the kitchen, and when he walks in the kitchen, he ends up stepping on some blood that has somehow appeared on the floor.
Mysteriously.
Freaks out, goes and to the bathroom, takes his sock off, proceeds to wash his foot in bleach. Then goes...
I love it. I love that one because I made reference to the fact that Chris has actually said before that when you watch these movies, you just need to go douse yourself.
Yes.
In a bath of bleach. You know,
he does to his foot what you should do to your brain after watching a 5 out of 5 shit movie. And so he goes and cleans the bathroom up, and after he does that, he throws the trash away. He puts everything in the trash. He's very almost not really OCD, but very, very neat and clean about how he lives his house, whatever.
It's Jack Nicholson-esque.
Yeah, I mean it's
it's weird.
It's even Dexter. Because Dexter was a very meticulous person when how he kept his house and his car and how he disposed of the body. Very meticulous, very, very to the T type of killer. And so he does that, and then he comes back in his house and he gets this feeling that something's wrong in his bedroom. So he goes to his bedroom. He gets the jewelry box out. He makes sure everything's still in there. And then he hears another noise, I believe. Goes out into the kitchen again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then...
But then he comes back down the hallway.
Uh-huh.
He looks in the room, and the bed is completely shredded.
The bed's shredded. There's shit on the walls.
Everything's torn off. Flipped up. He grabs the jewelry box again, flipping out, opens it up, and it's empty.
Everything's gone.
That's right. He had knocked it off. He picked it up, then he went to go do something else. He comes back. Then all of a sudden, the bed is torn up. Shelves are flipped. The dresser's all knocked the hell over. Drawers are all pulled out.
Yeah.
Looks, the box is empty. Then he really starts to lose it. He runs around the house. All of a sudden, there's blood all over the walls. There's liar, murderer, killer.
Yeah, so he runs to the kitchen at one point to get a knife, and then he ends up getting knocked out. I think you see a glimpse of somebody in a piece of plastic. He ends up getting knocked out. When he wakes up, he's on the kitchen floor, and there's just blood everywhere.
And I will add, the effects are very good for this.
Yeah.
We're probably not doing it justice. This segment actually is pretty darn decent in the mind fuck and the blood gore aspect. It's not bad.
This is when he walks down the hall and sees blood all over the walls. And then he goes into back to the bedroom, and when he walks in, it cuts to a shot of his side with a knife, and he drops the knife, and then it cuts to over his shoulder. And you see like 8 women in plastic wraps, and it's implying that these are his victims.
which makes which helped bring it home and make the story make sense. Because, like I said, at first it was jumping around really bad,
right?
And I wasn't getting it at first.
And then the lead woman, which is the one he just recently killed, approaches him, and she's wearing a necklace again that he took, and she opens it up, and it looks like it's him, the killer, and like a woman and a child.
And I think that might be his daughter. It doesn't explain anything, but what it does, it had some significance, like I said, because what happened in a scene prior, he looked down at the hall at a pair of bloody legs and says, I believe he said...
Oh, I couldn't hear what he said. The volume was so
like,
low.
You knew, or something like that. I had to because you knew.
Oh,
so I'm assuming she found out, probably his daughter, found out
that he was a killer.
So he had to get rid of her, blah, blah, blah.
And that's another thing, too, is why the short is also so good, is because that's literally the only line in the entire short. The rest of the short has no dialogue.
It's just sound effects, blood effects,
and body language,
mind fuck.
Yeah, and so
which is not bad.
Anytime you can do a short where there's literally one line and still have it, emotionally impact you or mentally impact you, that's a good job. And so I actually kind of enjoyed that, and it was
not bad.
Yeah,
it really wasn't
at all. So now let's get on to the next segment.
Hello, Henry. How do you know my name?
Okay, now this one I really liked, actually. This second segment of the movie. It was...
What are we going to call this one?
Very intriguing.
What name should this one be given, since it doesn't have one officially?
Temporal Mindfuck.
Okay, Temporal Mindfuck. So tell us all about the Temporal Mindfuck, James.
Well, as anybody knows, temporal means something to do with time. Okay, and we're introduced to Matt, a gentleman sitting in here. He comes up to his driveway. He's actually getting in his house. Runs into his neighbor / landlord, Henry, who hands him some mail. And he takes it inside. They just have a normal conversation. Goes inside, sits down. You see him going through the mail, looking at stuff, and you see the little strange white envelope. And he sets it down for a moment. And he goes through, you see him, his divorce papers, saying, okay, so he's by himself, he's getting divorced, he's depressed. Gets up to go make a drink or a sandwich or something, and the TV starts acting up. Horrible snow effects, by the way, on the TV, but oh well, no big deal. Heavy snowstorm outside causes some kind of effect of some sort. It was actually very cool. And the TV starts flashing. And he's like, what's going on here? So he grabs a control. He goes over there. He's messing with the TV. And eventually what happens is he sees this beautiful blonde girl on the other end of the TV, like they're looking through a video camera at each other. And you're like, what the hell? And then she goes off, and he flips the channel back. She comes back on. So they start flipping each other off, as you call it. And then they start talking to one another. And what happens is, they discover through some kind of weird circumstance that they are actually speaking to each other through time, through the TV. They're both at the exact same address. They're talking about details, about shit.
She's in 1978 and he's in 2008, so 30 years apart. The other coincidence is that both dates happen to coincide with a really bad snowstorm. So she is stuck in a snowstorm in 78 and he's stuck in a snowstorm in 2008.
This is correct.
So it reminds me very much of this movie. I forget what it's called, but it was with Jim Caviezel, and it had to do, and Dennis Quaid, and
that was hang on, I'm with it. It's Frequency.
Frequency, very much like Frequency, where he's talking through his father through a radio during some freak storm or whatever.
Yep. The Aurora Borealis or some kind of weird effect.
Very, very similar. So he's talking to her, and she doesn't believe him at first, and then he proves it by, recording her with his Crackberry.
Crackberry phones. I was like, you got to be kidding me. But 2008, I could see that. 11 years ago, they were still pretty heavily used. And
before that, he he was going through some paperwork. He starts going through his divorce paperwork. He's getting divorced. His life hasn't gone the way he'd hoped, and he opens up a envelope that he had got from the mail from his landlord. Didn't have a return address or a stamp. It was just in the mail. He opens it up, and it's a Polaroid picture showing his face over a laptop screen. The laptop screen has the date written on it. And he thinks nothing of it, tosses it aside. But then while he's talking with the girl, she says that she wants to take a picture to show her professor. And so he puts two and two together that the picture that he has is the picture she took. So he proceeds to follow through with the events. Yep. Puts it on the laptop. She takes the Polaroid. And then he says, "Well, why don't we see what you're doing in 2008 in the future?" And as he does that, she gets up to go get some more wine. He's searching. He finds the fact that she was murdered on that night 30 years ago, and it was an unsolved murder. So while he's doing that, he's looking at that. On the TV screen, you see someone enter the house
when he's not looking. He turns his head, of course, and you see the legs go by.
And into the house, and then he realizes someone's in there. And as you see the killer on the screen, and as he's heading to the back, he screams out. Matt screams out and causes the killer to look back at the TV, freaked out. Tries to get her to leave the house, of course.
Some struggle ensues. She comes out. "What are you talking about, Matt? What are you?" And she's like, he's in the closet behind you. Get out of there. Go away. He's trying to save her life, So she stands there. Like I said, when somebody screams at you, move your ass, you move your ass. You don't stand there with a puzzled look on your face.
No, you go.
So Mr. Killerman jumps out of the closet, and we'll get to who Mr. Killerman is here in a minute. Jumps out of the closet, grabs her, pushes her against the wall, slams her around a little bit. She ends up unconscious in front of the TV.
He's about to slice her throat, and Matt screams at him to stop, not to do it, telling him he doesn't have to do it. And as he's doing that, all of a sudden, somebody appears behind Matt and slits his throat.
His throat, ear to ear, just whack.
Yeah, it gives him the old Australian bow tie.
Yep.
And so then you get this, the killer on the screen in the 78 is all, not freaking out, but he's confused with what the hell's going on.
He's young, rocking the pork chop sideburns, the porn mustache.
Typical 78.
And then who kneels down into the TV?
But his landlord,
who says, "I bought this house because I wanted to make sure this night was real." So he actually remembers the events of the past.
Yeah.
Now the twist comes. Oh, God, I love twists. This was awesome. He's sitting there talking him out of the murder, saying, "Our life has been lonely. It's been shitty. Don't kill her. Just walk away." He described the scene of stalking this neighbor girl when he was like 12 years old, climbing into her bedroom window.
To convince his younger self that he's actually speaking to himself.
Exactly. Right. He had to tell something from his past, because the guy's like, "How the hell did you know that?"
Right.
He says, "Look, don't do it. Walk away. Trust me." Well, this awesome part happens. All of a sudden, you see raging, what's her face?
I forget what her name is, but yeah.
I think it's Jill.
Jill something, yeah.
Anyway, Julian.
Yeah.
Raises up behind this dude and shoves a butcher knife in his back. Starts to hack this fucker up.
Starts to stab him.
But an important fact I must disclose. Because he bought the house and had to make sure the night was quote-unquote real and was telling some information about himself, he was actually talking to himself in the past, convincing him not to kill. I don't believe I covered that.
I think I mentioned it earlier, but that's fine.
Okay, cool. Well, anyway, she starts to hack him up. So present day Henry starts to spit up blood and everything.
Which doesn't make sense.
I thought he would just vanish.
Well, he should have. Yeah,
he should have just disappeared from existence, because he would no longer be in that time period.
Exactly.
But that's okay. We don't care. Old bastard dies. He falls over. When it cuts to a scene of a older woman, still attractive but older, sitting in a car outside of that very residence. And she's listening to the radio, and it's talking about how 30 years ago to this day, and blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. Well, anyway, she gets out, And when Matt drives up to his house on that same day, he's got a daughter now.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently their marriage is worked out. You know,
Right.
It's all good to go. The future's all
He's alive.
sunshine and roses. He's
Yeah.
alive.
She's alive.
So he goes up because this was the day he was supposedly, his throat was cut by this other dude.
Mm-hmm.
Goes up to him, hands him the picture, shows him. He says, "This is me." And all she says is, "Thank you." And then he says, "Wait a minute, do we know each other?" And all she said was, "No." It was a clean cutaway. It was well done. She didn't tell him anything because there was nothing to really tell, because the landlord, Henry, who set this whole thing up in the first place, no longer existed in his
Right.
time.
Died
He was
that
gone.
night. Yeah.
So that was an excellent ending to the segment. I actually really enjoyed this segment. The concept was very cool.
And I'm actually gonna go opposite. I thought the concept was cool. It wasn't original, but it was definitely cool. I thought they could have ended it way earlier. I think it would have. To me, it would have had more impact if they ended it right after the landlord, because you don't see who it is that sliced Matt's throat. You just see a glove and it happened real quick, and then the figure kneels down, and that's when you see the landlord's face. And I think it would have been much more impactful if he had come down into screen and then said "Hello, Henry" to the screen, to his younger self, and then bam, just cut to black. Very, very, like, it's very much like a Twilight Zone type of thing, where like that whole part after it to me was way too long. I didn't care about him trying to convince his younger self to not kill the girl. I felt like, because then it goes into a perpetual circle where he killed the Matt guy in order to see that the night was real, whatever it was. But if it cut right then and there, then you would have got the inclination that it was a cycle. It would have kept going, because he wouldn't have tried to convince himself not to do it. It wouldn't have given the girl time to kill him. I think it went on too long. Okay. I thought it was good up to that point. Once it got to that point and he just kept talking, it lost me. I think it was a good concept. The acting wasn't that great, but if they cut it right then there, it could have cut it shorter. It would have had more impact on me. But still better than most of the other stuff that we've actually seen in short we
are a little
films.
bit opposite, because I was actually quite impressed by that.
Yeah.
But let's say we proceed to our next segment, my good man.
And just remember, in between this, we're getting very little from the wraparound story, other than the squirmy guy is being told by Pink Bunny, "Do you want to watch this?" and then showing him clips that aren't really clips, are more short stories, but they're supposed to be real life clips, but they're short stories. So again, it's just doesn't make any sense. But let's move on to the next.
Gordon Gekko had it right. Jesus had it wrong.
All right, so the next segment that we are calling
Hunting Bitches.
Hunting Bitches. Starts off with 3 young execs in looks like a kitchen or something, talking about their job or some shit. And all of a sudden they're approached by one of their supervisors who start talking about this weekend retreat that they're going to be having, this company weekend retreat.
Yes.
And he's telling them it's going to be real relaxed. Wear comfortable clothes and comfortable shoes, and it's going to be a team building exercise.
Already sounding fishy.
Yeah.
Fishy as fuck.
So then it cuts to them out in the field.
Actually, we can't skip this part, though, man.
Which part?
Badass Terminator-esque techno rock music scene. Just
that was the on the drive part with the truck coming up to the
driving out to the place,
the hard rock action stock music that they play. And then they get there and they're treated. Then what happens? He
gets out. He says, "We're glad you're here. We had to tell you or make up this story to get you out here." Basically pulls out a pistol and says, "All right, you get a 20-minute head start, a la Surviving the Game."
Yeah.
And tells them to haul ass.
There's 4 of them. There's 2 girls, 2 guys.
And one of them, what it is this basically shows the lack of survival instincts. I think this is a message to a lot of the young people of America today, to develop some survival instinct, because although they are peers, you've got 4 super alpha types, and then you've got the 4 beta types who are just
Yeah.
kind of passive.
Yeah.
You got one dude saying, "I don't understand the game."
David Spade, right?
And he says, "This ain't no game." So how does he prove it's no game?
Shoots
Chris?
him right in the chest.
Right in the
Right
fucking
chest.
heart. Just
So he
blows him away.
kills one off the bat, and the other 3 take off to run. And then the 4 execs said they'll give him 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
20 minute head
and
start.
they actually scream in their face, "Run!"
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that bad. It's actually pretty damn good. Of course, they get what? Maybe 100 yards, couple hundred yards?
Maybe 100 yards, yeah.
And Millennial number 2 shuts down.
Yeah, she just drops to the ground, and she's like just in shock the whole time, and she's just staring off into nothing. And I'm like, you are the most useless person in the entire world.
And she kind of goes through this, "The Force is with me, I'm one with the Force" kind of scene. She drops to her knees. No offense to Star Wars, folks, but anyway, and they're not going to hurt me and all this other stuff. I'm bulletproof or whatever. She's just totally lost it.
Yeah. So the 2 leave her, say fuck her, and leave.
They did. Hell
Take
yeah, I
off.
would too. Fuck you, bitch. I'm out.
They run to the cornfield, and the 4 catch up to Millennial number 2, who's just still just sitting there
Just
in
catatonic.
the field, just catatonic. Yeah.
Just
But we get our first glimpse of disillusion within the Alpha group, because the main dude, let's call him Whitey McWhitehead,
yeah.
tells the only female of the group,
The only female. Yeah.
to kill the millennials on the ground. To do it. This is what we pay you for. This is what you're blah 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 yada yada. But she can't do it. She ends up not being able to do it. She
freezes
tries,
up, walks away.
and she can't. And so he ends up giving to another person, one of the other guys, to kill the millennial, and he does. No big deal. Done and
Walks
done.
around, plugs her in the head. No big deal. Millennium number 2 scratched.
Yeah. So cut to a cornfield. The other 2 are running through the cornfield. As you pointed out, absolutely horrible camouflage.
You cannot run through a cornfield and remain hidden. I'm sorry, because even if you bump the stock at the bottom, it wiggles the top. Trust me, I know. I grew up in Colorado, played guns in a cornfield. It don't work.
The only way to run through a cornfield is backwards, butt naked. But I digress.
Hey,
Yeah. So anyway,
works for me.
so they get separated, and then the female starts calling for him. You hear a couple of weird sounds, and then he stumbles out of a row, walks up to her, blood drips out of his mouth, and he falls, and you see he's been shot in the back twice with arrows.
Yes.
So, number 3,
bow hunting.
down.
Millennium number 3 skewered. He's
Yeah.
done.
So
He's
then-
cooked. So she's by herself. Runs out of the cornfield with no pursuit.
Nope.
Mind you, there's no pursuit.
Nope.
So I don't know what the deal is here. Anyway, she runs out and stares at a metal barn.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there going, "Oh God, don't go in the barn." But what does she do, Chris?
She goes in the barn.
And what does she do? She leaves
the
the
door
door open.
You never leave the door open. You always...
Ugh.
If you run in somewhere hiding from somebody, you leave the outside exactly the way you found it.
That's it. And she didn't, but that's okay. Survival tip number 2, folks.
Yeah.
Okay, close the door. If you're going to go run into a barn in the middle of a cornfield, try to hide from some killers.
So then the big tall dude with the bow, who's an idiot, walks in.
Oh, Super Grip. We'll call him Super Grip.
Good name. I like
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
because he's got a death grip on that bow and arrow handle.
he's holding that bow and arrow like he's holding his penis about to whack off. And so
Yep.
he walks in, even though, and as you pointed out, even though there's a car in there, it's like an old car in there, and she had taken up residence in it to hide. And even though there was a big old missing section of dust on one part of the car, not the rest, he didn't bother to think that might
Freshly
be where
disturbed dust. I mean,
where she like grabbed the car to hide. And so he walks in, looks, doesn't see her, walks out.
does his Cyberdyne model T101 stare around?
Yeah,
you know, looking there with his little square jaw.
T-Gay 1000. He's looking like a carpetbagger. But anyway, so then he walks out, and then Whitey McWhitehead says, let's do a perimeter.
Let's
we'll
form a
find her,
perimeter.
whatever.
She's in one of these buildings.
Some bullshit.
Fucking genius, because the door's open.
Cuts to
Dumbass.
night. The last millennial comes out right as the female alpha is going around the perimeter. She turns around, sees her. Instead of killing her, she starts screaming for the guys.
Yes, a 1950s fist fight ensues.
Yeah, so then the girl rushes at her. You get this really bad choreography where like the punches are like 4 feet away from each other.
Oh, it's horrible.
Pretty bad.
It's almost as bad as diva wrestling.
Yeah,
It's really horrible.
And then they wrestle, and then the millennial grabs the gun, hesitates for a second, but then plugs the female alpha.
Which kind of pissed me off because the female alpha was kind of hot.
She was useless.
That kind of bugged, but she was useless. Yeah, she can't kill nobody.
No.
She's no good. Bye.
And then after she does that, Whitey McWhitehead congratulates her, says, "Welcome to the company. You start off at 300,000." And we both looked at each other and said, "Okay, how do we sign up and who can we kill?"
Where do I send my resume?
I've got a list of people I will gladly offer as tribute for the hunt. For 300K, I will kill whoever you want.
I'd have taken out the 4 at first and then got the rest of them. But you know what? That's all right.
Yeah, I will do whatever you want me to do for 300K.
Yep.
And then that's it. And so she ends up joining the company, and that was the end of the segment.
Yeah, I thought it was a solid segment. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The acting was actually better than the other
decent.
segment so far.
Yeah,
it was
really
pretty
was.
good.
Yeah.
It was half-ass convincing. Of course, it's fake, but still.
Right.
But if you've seen Surviving the Game, that was well done. Same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Human hunting. Big.
Yeah, the most dangerous game based on that old book. Yeah,
absolutely.
I do got to say, I'm pretty disappointed so far though, because I was really more expecting more supernatural aspect, and none of these have had any really supernatural aspect. I mean, the closest we have is time travel, but.
Well, and like you said in the synopsis, it's completely off anyway. There hasn't been any requests made of this web creature, Pink Bunny or nothing.
Right.
This stuff is just, hey, you want to see something?
I mean, yeah, the first one had some sort of a dark figure that made the makeup lady kill herself, but I mean, that's really it. All we've had so far is mostly serial killers. That's
Pretty much.
Yeah. So
serial killers or
yeah, so
just different varieties. Yep.
All right, let's go on to the next one.
Yes, sir.
Lillian Rue has endured 3 months in the viewing room.
And segment 4, or as I like to call it, let's show it to the hoe.
Show it to the hoe.
Now that doesn't actually, that title doesn't portray what actually the story involves, but what happens is we go back to our wraparound story at this point.
Yep.
Shows the little bug-eyed crazy dude.
Bug-eyed dude, yeah, who hasn't done shit so far. Just been talking to the screen.
Thing. So here's the doorbell ring. He says, "Oh, she's here." And Pink Bunny's like, "Oh yeah, cool, be cool, have fun, whatever." Goes to the door, and in walks a prostitute.
The hoe.
Reminds him of the $200 fee, which he promptly excuses himself to go get.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, the computer, the Pink Bunny, comes up. She's like, "Is that thing on?" And Pink Bunny's like, "You want to see something?"
Then we go to our next segment.
And we into our next segment. The almost final segment.
Yeah, the final full segment.
But I like calling it "Show It to the Hoe."
Show it to the hoe.
All right.
Because
So anyway, what
show it to the hoe.
happens is we have a young woman in her apartment cooking dinner, just chilling out. Some dude in a cheaply made, ridiculous, BMX bike / cheap Halloween mask / black stocking over the face outfit.
Yeah, Foot Clan ninja looking reject pops in the house, kidnaps her, and she wakes up in this shit covered. It looks like monkeys lived in this room and just do their shit all over the walls.
It's kind of like a Saw ripoff at this point. She's out. She gets knocked out. Wakes up in this room, terroristic looking room. Doesn't know what the hell. So it was moving quite slow at this point. The sequence kind of slowed things down from the other ones, and it was like, oh, come on.
It makes you think at first that maybe they're a bunch of perverts because she ends up having to. They feed her. And then she ends up having to take a dump, but like as she goes to do that, you hear the camera. This camera is up in the corners, and you hear the camera go.
You're focusing,
like it's watching her, and so
I don't know what happened.
You're thinking she's being kidnapped by a bunch of really sick people, probably Germans who want to watch people take a shit.
And she goes through all the hostage phases. There's first the terror phase where she's scared to death. Then she crumbles in fear for a while. Then she basically kind of accepts her fate. Then she becomes angry.
Yeah.
She's angry, folks.
And then they pull her out and they hose her down. They clean the whole room. And they dress her, and now she's in this clean room with still with the same shit bucket though.
Yep.
And that's when she's going through all her different phases, and they do like
she has a Wilson moment, I like to call it, with the bucket. She throws it after she dumps the piss on the wall.
Oh yeah.
Throws it and breaks it up, and then she picks it up. Wilson, I'm sorry, man, I didn't mean it.
Wilson.
Well, anyway, then she starts pulling the bucket apart, and I'm like, no, come on, you got to be kidding.
I was really hoping she was going to put it on her head and just kind of walk around.
Yep.
Acting like she had a helmet on. But no, she
gets removed from the room.
Yep.
She's clean, and the guy goes to reach and take her. Looked like he was going to unzip her suit for some reason.
Probably redress her or something.
And
or
redress her. Well, he stands up and walks away because she says, "I'll do it." And she takes a piece of the bucket and jams it in his shoulder. Yeah. And he just stands there like, what the fuck?
So then they beat her royally.
Then we have a flash scene to a surgery table. They apparently patched her up. Then she wakes up clean once again, but dressed and fucked up. Face is all busted the hell up. So another sequence of her going berserk, walking around. Yeah, they're showing
time going by her walking around the cell and counting and saying things to herself. And
then there she is sitting on the ground, and all of a sudden the room opens up and the twist comes out. Turns out this young lady is on a game show called Snare.
She's an unwilling participant.
Very unwilling participant. And they actually are voting whether or not she will win the prize of $200,000. And they were interviewing people. Personally, if I didn't get the $200,000, I'd kill everybody in the room.
Yeah,
I'd probably use the money to hire somebody to kill everybody in the room.
She was in there for 3 months without knowing, freaked out of her mind that she'd been kidnapped.
Had no idea and survived it and won the cash. And all she did is stare at the camera like, I hate everybody.
Yeah, so this twist or whatever is definitely the weakest of all the segments, and I think the segment was actually probably the worst of them all. It was very boring.
Yeah, it was boring, but it was a good twist at the end, so it kind of brought it home a little bit, but it was definitely less entertaining than the other segments. Then we transitioned back to our rap story.
But before we go there, I didn't really like the twist on that last one though. I thought it was kind of dumb. No, like
well, stupid.
It's a game show, and I mean, first of all, liability issue. You literally kidnapped someone and held them against their will for 3 months.
And beat them.
Yes, that's
violate their privacy.
Yeah, that's a violation of.
Feed them Stouffer's lasagna, which
their carb count and their sugar count is off the roof now. You have no idea if they're. I mean, you probably would know if they were like diabetic, or whatever. But the point is, it was kind of, I thought it was kind of a dumb twist. I didn't really like it at all. I didn't like that segment at all, to be honest with you. I probably could have just skipped that one and totally have been fine. It was, to me, it didn't serve any purpose at all. And once again, no supernatural element.
And this is cool. And then we got two different sides to the same story, so that's pretty cool.
Shit! I did it! We did it!
So then we go to the wraparound story again.
Once again, and the lady stands up, and Pink Bunny says, "How'd you like that?" And before she can even say a word, whap! Here comes Crazy Bug-Eyed Dude with a crowbar.
Smacks her across the head with a crowbar.
Takes her down to the ground. She falls flat, and he Negans her again with the damn...
with the
crowbar.
I
use that term a lot, because I like that. Negan was badass. Anyway, well, he hit her like 2 or 3 times with the crowbar, and then he's celebrating. He's like, I fucking did it. And all of a sudden, he's got an accent.
Yeah, so the wraparound story was this whole story of him online... so he could kill somebody online.
Apparently being lured or coached by this Pink Bunny thing.
Right.
And then what happens is, all of a sudden, she's like, dude, look behind you. She's alive. He's like, what, are you fucking kidding me? And blah, blah, blah. And turns around, and he is summarily attacked by said hoe.
By this hoe, who all of a sudden had sharp teeth and started eating him.
Kind of fucko-esque teeth, to be honest with you.
You know, it actually reminded me of that one segment from Creepshow 3, very similar, where the guy hired a prostitute to come over.
Yeah.
And ends up eating her.
It's funny how does Creepshow 3 keep coming up?
I don't know. That piece of shit just pops into
It just
everything.
won't go away.
So that's the big reveal of the wraparound story. Very weak, but we did finally get some supernatural element. She's some sort of a creature.
Some sort of a creature. She is not human. Folks.
No, and then we get a very short mini segment.
Where it just transitions straight to this gal laying on her bed.
Yeah.
Combing through, apparently talking on...
it's sort of like a Tinder type app. Yeah,
thing,
she's swiping left and right and trying to, whatever.
She's getting these photos from this guy and chilling out, and all of a sudden she hears a camera go off in the hallway, and she's like, what the hell? So then she goes through her apartment, walking around looking, what the hell's going on? And there was, like I said, basically zero transition. It was just flash.
Yeah.
So anyway, she's walking out there, looking around, and all of a sudden, bling, bling, her phone starts going off. She starts swiping photos, and they're pictures of the inside of her apartment. He's holding her cat in one sequence, which they didn't kill the cat.
Thankfully.
So, thank God they didn't kill the damn cat. Then there's another picture.
The picture of her on her bed in her room that he had taken was on there.
Apparently that she had heard.
Yeah.
And turns around, and some masked thing clubs her, and boom, credits.
Not very original, not very good, not very scary. Literally did not even need to be in the movie. I don't know why they felt like they had to add it.
I guess they had some extra film left over.
This still makes no sense why they would put it in there. It doesn't tie into anything.
It absolutely didn't. You are correct there.
It's not part of the whole let me show you something type of scenario. It's just, it has even less to do with like dark web because she was on like a dating app, which granted the first segment she was on Facebook type app, but whatever.
Maybe it's a closet warning not to exchange photos with people or get too informative with people online. But it never really showed that. No. It was just picture swapping.
Yeah.
Basically, how I described the sequence was short but pointless. Although getting photos from the killer was cool.
So
and it was like, oh shit. So
that's it. All right.
I'm going to summarize real quick.
Go for it.
My summary in here.
All right.
Overall acting for the movie, I gave an actual 2 because I felt there was more good acting than bad acting. So I actually gave it 2 turd for that. Stories, I actually enjoyed very much. I actually gave those a 1 because I liked all the concepts myself personally.
Okay.
Direction, I gave a 2 because I felt that it was actually quite well directed. It didn't seem scatterbrained or, there was some cinematography shit that went on, the jump stuff, the delays, crap like that was annoying. But the actual direction wasn't that bad. Acting, like I said, it was okay. Effects, I gave a 2 because I really did like the blood effects. There were a couple of effects that weren't that good, but for the most part, the blood. The gore was not too bad. The taffy part with his liver at the end was pretty good.
Around,
script, I gave it a 1 because I like the cool ideas. Although they did not tie together, they did each stand on their own. There were 5 distinct little stories that I actually personally enjoyed.
Okay.
So overall, I am going to rate this movie a 2 turd.
2 turd.
I give it 2 turds. I'm
okay.
not going to give it 1 because it didn't have the charm of Zombievers.
Okay.
Zombievers is my only 1 so far.
All right.
And although I like it, I can't go 1 because the synopsis, first of all, did not follow the movie and said the web granted wishes to those who asked, but no one fucking asked anything.
No, they didn't.
So that's where it kind of lost me on a 1. If it had actually followed the synopsis, I might have went with 1 with it because I actually enjoyed this movie. You're not supposed to enjoy them this much, but I actually did.
Gotcha.
How about you, Chris?
I thought it was okay. It was segments were all right. The acting on them was pretty good. The script was decent. The cinematography wasn't too bad. The editing was not that great. I thought that the overall, I found myself. I liked the first mini segment with the Facebook makeup artist. I thought that was pretty cool. And I liked that you didn't need any setup. It just happened. It was just there. It didn't have like any exposition. It was just all of a sudden boom, and then didn't have an explanation. Didn't tell you what it was that caused it or why it did it. It didn't. It just happened, and that was it. Sort of like what I wanted to happen with the time travel segment. I didn't want an explanation of what was going on or why it happened. I just wanted it to happen, and that was it. Because I like to fill in the gaps myself. I think what's not seen is scarier than what is seen. I enjoyed the first one with the serial killer and the victims in plastic. I thought that was very well done, especially for not having any dialogue but one line. I thought the acting was good. I thought the body language was good. I thought he portrayed his condition very well. After that, it just all kind of, it literally was like a graph. Like it just kind of trickled downward. Like each one just got slightly worse than the one before it. Leading up to the one with the lady in the kidnapping game, and then the unnecessarily padded on one with the girl in the Tinder app or whatever. And then my biggest thing is the wraparound story doesn't really have to go in, doesn't really have to not match, but it doesn't have to really. Okay, hold on. I can't think of the
exist.
No, not that. What's the word? I hate when I can't think of the damn word. The wraparound story does not have to have anything to do with the other stories. That's fine. I don't need that. But I do like the wraparound story to actually be substantial or at least meaty. Mm-hmm. Like the wraparound story in like the first two VHS movies to me are some of the best because it's a much better idea for a setup than the dark web, and even the wraparound story around Scary or Die was non-existent as well.
Yeah.
But this one it seemed useless. Like literally, there was almost as little transition between stories in this one as there was for Creepshow.
Yeah.
Because each time all you saw was maybe a 10-second clip of the bug-eyed dude before the pink bunny said, "Do you want to see this thing next?" And so it did. I mean, it and at the end, the wraparound story had a very quick conclusion, so it didn't even. I don't know. I think overall, I'm going to give this one a 3.
3, middle of the road, not bad.
Yeah, not too bad. It's something to definitely watch. Put it, watch it with some friends.
This is the one where you must drink heavily.
This is where you drink heavily because you will definitely need it, especially after the first 2 segments. After that, you will need to drink a lot more. I didn't think it was bad, but I didn't think it was good either. It was very middle of the road.
Yeah,
which is why I'm giving it a 3. Some of the acting was good. Some of the acting was bad. The effects actually weren't too bad. All across the board, the effects were fine. They were perfectly fine. Nothing was too outlandish, with the exception of the lady in the kidnapping segment using the plastic from her bucket as a weapon.
Yes.
That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, because I took away from it, like I said, my like for the movie came from the fact that I felt there were slight references to some of my more favorite horror movies.
Yeah.
Suspense movies, like I said, Surviving the Game. I really love that movie. Mm-hmm. I like that sequence a lot. Although they were annoying, hey, they all got taken out. I liked it.
Right.
The Saw, the whole Psycho Room thing.
Yeah.
That kind of reminded me of the Saw sequence. Mind fuck. Stuck in there, don't know what's going on. You have no clue, and then you get surprised at the end. So yeah, there are some slight rip-offs there, but that's probably where the appeal lies.
They were going for it too, yeah. So. And I think, and speaking of which, I think that's why also I didn't like it as much, is because it didn't have any, except for the wraparound story, 10 whole seconds of it. It didn't have a lot of supernatural or paranormal aspects to it. It was all human nature, which
pretty much
is fine. But I mean, when you're doing a movie called Dark Web, you kind of expect this, like all the stuff that they showed, all the different segments they showed. First of all. None of it was done from like security camera footage or from like CCTV footage.
Yeah,
it was all
that would have helped.
Yeah, it was all done in the vein of short films. So like those would not have been on dark web like that because they're quite clearly fictional. If we're just taking it off of how they look, it's quite clearly a fictional story because, like VHS. A lot of the VHS movies that you haven't seen, go check out the VHS 1 and 2. Don't watch 3; it's not that great. But 1 and 2 are great. But each of the segments from VHS is done from the point of view field. Like it's all done from like cameras or GoPros. but it's all got that documentary type look because it's all shot from the point of view, which makes it seem, or even I think some of them are also like CCTV type of footage, which makes it seem like you're watching a segment somebody recorded and placed on the web.
Exactly. That is a very good point.
Yeah, these dark web episodes were short films, and so and not only that, but each of these were not so horrible that, like, I guarantee you could see probably some of these, like if they were quote unquote real, you could probably see some of these on like 4chan or on the non-dark web. Like if you're gonna go dark web, you need to go bad, deep undercover bad, like
Hostile shit.
Yeah, I mean, because dark web is like the serious shit. So I think that's also why I gave it a 3, is because it didn't strike me as being overtly terrible, and it wasn't a lot of supernatural aspect. I mean, that's just something I like. So I think that's why I went with 3 as opposed, because honestly, at the beginning with the makeup lady and then the serial killer, I was gonna give it a 2.
Yeah,
because I really enjoyed those 2 segments.
Yes, they were good.
They were really done very well, and I was like, okay, this is, maybe this shouldn't be on our podcast. But after that, it just tanked hard, and at that point, I was like, okay, it deserves to be on here. And at that point, I was like, it slowly went from a 2 to 2.25 to 2.5 to 2.75, and then bam, 3.
To me, it was almost out of the range of what we should be reviewing.
Yeah,
we got a little too good on this one, so
yeah.
we're gonna have to really dial it down for the next one, folks.
So all right, so a 2 and a 3. That's not bad.
2 and a 3, not too bad. We're pretty close on it.
Yeah. All right, James. So you want to tell them where they can find us?
All right, folks. You can find us on Facebook under What the Suck Podcast. We are also on Instagram and Twitter. And our Twitter following just hit 400 today. We appreciate that support.
Absolutely.
We just got over 200 on Instagram, which we also very much appreciate that. And we're over 500 on Facebook. We are also...
Also, just so to make it easy, because I tried to search for Twitter and Instagram, you have to use underscore between the words, because if you don't, it's too hard to find. So what_the_suck, and it'll be so much easier to find it that way than if you just type in what the suck.
This is true, because I had to do that when I signed up.
Yeah. So just so you know, if you're looking for us, just do it that way, and it will come up right away.
We are on Castnet.
Castbox.fm.
Castbox.fm.
We are on iTunes. By the way, as of this recording, iTunes has gone away. So now if you want to listen to your podcast, you have to go to and download the podcast app from the Apple Store. And all of your podcasts will still be on there, including us. So, yeah.
iTunes. What kind of otherworld fuckery is this?
Apple did away with iTunes, man. It's some bullshit.
Really?
Yeah, they were losing money on it. So because there's Spotify, which we're on Spotify also.
We are on Spotify,
but there's Spotify and like YouTube Music, and so there's all these different streaming services where you can listen to music, and so people don't need to necessarily buy it off of iTunes. So they shut it down. But you can still get your music through another app. You can still get your podcast through the Apple Podcast app. So we're on there as well. Just type in What the Suck on any of those and you'll find us right away. Thankfully, there's not too many podcasts that have the combination of what the and suck this close together.
There's not.
So just type in What the Suck on your either one of any of those and you will find us. And so that's it. And so keep an eye out. We should be probably working on a pretty special episode pretty soon. And I think you guys will enjoy it. And until then, I'm Chris.
And I'm James.
And we will see you guys later.
Peace.
Deuces.